Kristen and Joseph. Hope you guys are having a good day today. As your video lesson. As usual, if you have questions or want me to look at anything, feel free to shoot a message over. If not, I'll assume everything's going A-okay. So cool. Let's get to it. So first thing is reviewing what we talked about last week, which is the G tonalization. So we talked last week about his thumb being a little bit too low. When he's playing. So when you play, your thumb his thumb should be a little bit higher on the back. So if you see something like this where he's kind of like reaching for everything, or if you start seeing a bent wrist right here, we don't want that. We want the thumb just a little bit higher. So when we play that scale, right, you should have just a little bit of space back here, what I call the mouse hole, right? So you should be able to sneak a number 2 pencil back through there. If you see that thumb drop below the halfway point, that's your sign right there that his thumb is way too low. And we want to bring it up, so otherwise everything will kind of end up like looking like this. So we want to keep those fingers tucked over the strings right here. And that has to kind of do with like point number 2 that I have, which is the pinky push-up, making sure we keep on working on that because that is popping up in the next tune. So we make sure our pinky push-up is looking really great. Some common pitfalls with pinky push-up are these. So if I go right there, I'm on the D, keeping that down. One of the pitfalls is related to what I was just talking about, which is like having the thumb way too low and then the pinky is doing this rather than being over top and nice and tall. It flattens out a little bit. I see that a lot. Other thing I see too with the pinky push-up is that the kid will want to go right to just the push of the pinky and not put the ring finger down. And this is what will happen if you do that. Yeah, eagle claw, what I call that. So we don't have this, like everything like flies out the window if they start using their pinky. You really got to make sure you're keeping that ring finger down. That way it stays controlled. Like later on, we'll take that away. Right? But for right now, we want to make sure to keep that ring finger down, making sure that we're not doing anything funky there, like putting this down, coming down flat finger, that sort of thing. I guess the other thing I see with pinky push-ups that kind of go awry are the first and second fingers. Like it'll suddenly kind of like do this number here, right? They're so focused on the push-up that these guys kind of drift away or kind of sneak behind the neck. Making sure to keep first and second finger over top of the fretboard, right? So there's a lot of different things happening here. We make sure that thumb is in a good spot, making sure fingers 1 and 2 are hovering over the fretboard. That way when we start Song in the Wind, that he's not, we're not teaching to the test, whereas I would just be like, okay, here's the push-up, now go ahead and just try it. Make sure that pinky is nice and solid, because the beginning of that song, right, that happens in there. And what could happen is, stuff like that could potentially happen. So careful of that. And then number 3 is Aunt Rhody. I think in the message you sent over that that everything you're trucking along very nice with that. I'm assuming that we are still breaking it up into small pieces for him. I'll make more specific comments when I see him play that through next time, just because I'm not sure where it sits right now. So unless you want to send a video, we can do that too. And I know I've given you the first part of the B section, but just to review, we have that. So that B, C, D, D. I would do that part right there, the same way that we did with everything else that we do. B, C, D, D, and see if you can remember that part, right? So maybe, like I said, I think you always give him like prompts. So B, C, D, D, and then he remembers. I think also might be a good strategy too, and it's worked for other students, it might work for Joseph, is try to make up lyrics for this stuff. Try to make up words. Like maybe you can even make it funny. It doesn't have to make any sense. It just can be funny. One of my students does like, now I know twinkle and know lightly row. Like just something like that, but it can be about dinosaurs for our purposes. It can be anything really. It can be dolphins if you wanted it to be. So if I do, now I know twinkle, right? And just do that part right there and have him sing it. That way he'll sing the melody he's supposed to. Otherwise, everything is just going to be tried by rote and muscle memory, and that's not the best way to go about things in music. Because once they reach a certain length, as they're getting longer, Rigadoon being the longest one in the first book, along with Meta Minuet, they reach such a length that if you just try just remembering the muscle movements, you won't do very well with it, or you'll always be chunking it out. I'd say doing lyrics and then having him sing the song like straight on through. The same way we did with Lightly Row. Lightly row, flowers coming. Songs with lyrics are easier to remember than just instrumental songs for some reason. Probably just because of the words. So we have those two pieces right there. So you have B, B, C, D, D, right? Make up some lyrics, then try this part, right? Something like that. And then see if we can get at least that first little bit of that B section under his fingers without so much prompting. Cool, work on those three things for me. Like I said, if you want me to take a look at anything, shoot on over. If not, I will see you same time next time. Take care.